Hello, good evening, and welcome to day 8 of the GBDURO. We're doing a bit of an evening update here because I was away this morning and could only get hold of our guest this evening. I am so pleased to welcome a face and a name that probably most of you will know in this world is Kerry MacPhee, who is an incredibly successful ultra-endurance bike packer, racer, probably most notably in our context, given where our racers are headed just now. Had a big, huge win in the Highland Trail 550 last year, 2024. Went back this year to try to take the FKT, and that did not go so well. We might get a very brief version of that story, although I've heard Kerry talk about it on some other podcasts, so definitely go seek that out if you're curious to hear more. Also holds the FKT and the win this year on the Dales Divide, the win in the Land Between last year, and that was also 4th overall, which is pretty impressive. Holds a bunch of other FKTs, one of which was alluded to by our guest Sam the other day, holds the one on the Badger Divide. So is also familiar with that section of the route. Kerry is a passionate advocate of the Gaelic language, is a Gaelic speaker from the Outer Hebrides, is, when she's not racing bikes, is working in renewables. That's what pays the bills. And Kerry's keen to emphasize that bikes is not a full-time job, and she does still do other stuff. And even people at the front of these big races who've got the sponsorships or whatever are still doing other work. Kerry's also a cycling development officer and runs Gravel Guide Scotland. So does a lot of kind of local advocacy, getting people into cycling, and is one of the leads, CEOs, execs with Bike Trossachs, who run a bunch of cycling events and the kind of branding gravel foil stuff.
Oh, on point, Alex. And I've never been called an exec or a CEO before, so thank you. I'm going to hold on to that.
Well, yeah, I hope that's the right title.
Yeah. Full director, yeah.
Kerry is just back from a totally new endeavor, which is not so new. I'll ask her to say a bit about it in a minute. Has just done her first foray into expedition adventure racing, which she described to me before the recording started as like doing an ultra, but there's multiple modes of transport. So kayaks and mountain climbing and hill running and all kinds of other stuff. And I'm sure I'm only touching the surface there. So that's enough of my voice. Thank you so much, Kerry, for taking the time to join us. I'm so pleased to have you here. Over to you. Tell us a bit more about this last week.
Yeah, firstly, thanks for having me. Really chuffed that you've invited me on. And yeah, the world of expedition adventure racing. I think whilst I was racing, I think it was in the kayak, and I had this mad recollection of being 7, 8, 9 years old and being absolutely obsessed with the programme Transworld Sports on Channel 4. I don't know if you ever watched it. And it was a programme that was on a Saturday morning, and it covered all these mad niche sports in the world. And I hadn't thought about this programme in like years and years and years. And I remember watching adventure races happen in New Zealand and wishing I was one of these people and having this like moment of serendipity sitting in a kayak, not particularly enjoying myself, because kayaking when you're on it two people sit on top is quite slow, and the land never seems to appear or get any closer. So yeah, it was one of these things that other people once upon a time did. It was a world adventure racing series, so people from all over the world came over to race. Started in Badiguish, we got bussed out. You get the route the day before. It's crazy. Route and maps, and you navigate your way across like the Torridon Mountains, across Loch Choire. We went down Loch Ness, the Spey, loads of running, loads of mountain biking, parts of the Highland Trail. It's crazy. Gorge jumping at midnight. We're riding through the night. It's just, and you're navigating as well, and then you're trying to navigate in the dark. Like, we got lost. We definitely got lost.
Wow.
And then you're having to like deal with the team dynamic. So it's like an ultra, but just so different. And then you've got certain kit bags and certain transitions, and they need to be right, and they've got your food in it, and crazy. But I love endurance.
Okay.
And I hate the fact that I've had a taste for it as well, because it was just
Yeah.
just another thing that I want to do.
I guess I'm getting vibes of like an Xterra triathlon on steroids run at ultra distance length.
Something like that. And then you get to see the best parts of the country while you're doing it, and you occasionally bump into other teams and have really good crack along the way.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's just this weird world that I've just been exposed to, and it's like quite high performance, but like ultra also not, like quite unassuming. Like people will just go back to their day jobs now, but they're also very focused people and very determined people, and a lot of people use that as it's like adventure tourism as well. Like there was a lot of American people over.
Oh wow.
And they have like adventure racing clubs, and they maybe choose an event every 2 years that they aim for and save up for. It's about $3,500 to enter a team.
Oh.
But I initially thought, flipping over, that's so expensive. But you've got five days of kayaking, gorge walking, canyoning, zip lining across like caves, and the logistics of that, like the team behind the scenes are moving boats and moving bags and moving climbing kit and moving, like it's just a ginormous operation. So when I thought about it like that, I was like, flipping out, it's cheap as chips. So
wow.
That
sounds absolutely incredible.
It was I'm really lucky that I was afforded the opportunity to do that. So I was doing it as part of a Scottish adventure program called The Adventure Show, and also as part of BBC Allopa.
Okay.
So we were a team of 3 Gaelic speakers who all have their own individual strengths, and then 1 English speaker as well.
Okay.
So you can watch it next Saturday night and next Sunday night on BBC Allopa and The Adventure Show, which is quite cool.
Cool.
So yeah,
broadcast in Gaelic and English, or Gaelic and subtitles?
Yeah. So we were racing ultra, and then at the same time trying to like speak with cameramen who would just like pop out of a bush in the middle of nowhere, or we'd be pedaling along and we'd be like, is that a bloody drone?
That sounds wild.
So it was cool. Really cool.
And I know it took you on to some of the route that we're going to talk about today. I'll come to that in just a minute. I want to do quick news update stuff. You can see our riders have been making their way along. There's not been any big, huge surprises. And part of that may be that we've not got an opportunity to get too much news from the riders that are in the Highlands, as they're going to have patchy mobile signal. I know some of the chat with our photographers is coming in dribs and drabs because they don't have mobile signal. And from the dots, it looks like generally everybody is making the progress that we expected when we last spoke, with one major exception. Really sorry to report that we had a scratch from Keith McClure, who I think is the last Scot in the race. So no more Scots racing in Scotland just now. I could be wrong about that. We have had that email, so it's confirmed. Really sorry to see Keith go. Keith was back for a second time trying to improve on a bunch of mechanicals that slowed him down in Bristol last year, and ended up with a bunch of different mechanicals that slowed him down in Bristol this year, and is now backing out with an injury. So we wish Keith a swift recovery and a safe journey home. Little things I have picked up. Looks like Roop was changing brake pads today. Says it was needed. And I really liked this. Says, I can't put into words how amazing it is to have a stranger shout GBDURO at you or see a chalk message on the tarmac. That is a pretty special thing about doing these kind of ultra races as compared to what it would be like to just go and do this mad route on your own. Yeah. Kerry, I don't know how much you got support from dot watchers in some of the stuff that you've been doing, if there have been particularly memorable moments interacting with dot watchers as you've been.
Yeah, when I raced the Highland Trail, I had a WhatsApp group which I called my HT550 emotional support group, and that was a lot of fun actually. And I remember particularly memorable moment was somewhere along on the second loop on the way back. It was super sunny, pedalling next to the coast, and Dot Watchers had written a paragraph, and it was Kerry MacPhee is demonstrating why she rides bikes for a living. And another chat that I'm on, which is Dirt Divas Mountain Bike and Gravel. It's a women's mountain bike and gravel community interest company that I'm a director of. Screenshotted it and sent it to the women's group to say, this is ridiculous, they've completely misreported on Kerry, we need to correct this because it sets the precedent that if a woman's at the front, she obviously is only at the front because she rides bikes for a living and she's never done it. What should we do? So two of my friends messaged Dot Watcher because they were so passionate about making sure that women see that even if you're at the front, like being at the front, the two, it's being someone who works and being at the front are actually compatible. I've never been a full-time rider in my life. I don't get paid to ride my bike either, and I was so delighted that they did that and that they were able to sort of feed into Dot Watcher and make sure that they had the correct information, because you want to believe people at the front are special, but they're really not. They're just maybe a little bit more efficient or take less naps or eat food more quickly and on the go. That's all there is to it, and I don't want that to be the perception. So yeah, Dot Watchers has been quite fun in that respect, watching other people feed into me.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that your talent on the bike is special, but I take your point that the training is not necessarily special. The time afforded to you to prepare and be at your very best is not particularly remarkable compared to any other racer on the start line of some of those races that you've absolutely destroyed.
I just spend a little bit more of a unhealthy amount of time probably riding my bike than people with equal number of hours than me.
Well,
so, but,
perhaps, yeah. But I think that's a really good thing to highlight, that you know, as I've been talking to several other guests about women's inclusion in ultracycling and women's participation in ultracycling, that even the ones that are at the front that have the big names are not always full-time professionals, and you don't have to be to get to that point.
I would like it if you know how I can make that happen.
Yeah. If there's any brands that would like to give Kerry a full-time salary to keep doing this stuff, then reach out. We'll send a link at the end. I'm sure this is the venue, the platform to find that audience. Good. I want to have you talk a little bit more about that further on in our conversation, but to get us started, the big thing I really wanted to get you in here to talk about is this northern section of the route, because I know part of the Badger is also really familiar to you, given that you hold the FKT there and it's part of the Highland Trail 550. But I had that conversation with Sam. I want to hand over now from Sam to you, starting at Fort Augustus, to talk us through what our riders are going to face as they make that last leg to the end of the route.
So depending on what time of day they get there, this is an interesting thing. So I remember reading when I first started racing ultra, that armchair ultra experts would speculate that, you know, what's the point in doing an ultra and riding through the night? Like, you don't see anything through the night and you're letting this beautiful landscape bypass you. And am I allowed to swear? I was going to say shite. Am I allowed to say shite?
If you keep it to a minimum. I think I'm not allowed to swear. I don't know. There's no rules for this. I kind of broke the rules starting to do a video update. So
I was going to say it's an absolute load of shite, because the way you pass through the landscape at night is incredible. The way the landscape and the horizon is lit up by the moon and the shapes that you see. And I remember just 3 days ago going up into the Cairngorms and the quartz sparkling and the moon was so bright, and then you might see like a reflection from a loch that you didn't know was up ahead. So if they're passing through this landscape in the night time, they're in for a complete treat. They might get a fright as well. I'm pretty sure there's a wind farm up there, and it's quite like the massive turbines and the whoosh of the wind turbine. I passed through nearby in the nighttime when I did Highland Trail, and it was quite intimidating. But you're also climbing quite high up, and you can just see the sort of the curves of the lower mountains around you. And as you continue northwards, one of the most infamous sections on the Highland Trail after Stewie.
Oh yeah.
After
this chunk here.
Yes, it's the Path of a Thousand Puddles from Stewie. So you climb up a gravel track, and then you're on the path. And it goes on forever.
It is a gorgeous path.
It's so nice. The first time I did it, I recce'd parts of the Highland Trail before I actually raced it. And I'd read all the blogs and watched all the videos, and I was on the path, and I was like, these puddles are ginormous. They're so huge. And then it suddenly dawned on me, this is the path that I've been reading about.
Yeah.
And I was there 3 or 4 days ago as well by bike, educating my adventure team about the Path of the Thousand Puddles. But I came up from Audendam and was speculating that the dryness has obviously just cleared all of the puddles, but no, they emerged in their full glory.
So all 1,000 puddles are still there.
5,000 puddles. They just don't drain away. There's just no drainage whatsoever. There's no trees up there. Beautiful path, and they might like the wet feet given the heat of the day today. It might be quite nice. But there are little bits around the edges. So if you're technically astute, you'll be fine just sort of jumping onto the edges. Although a couple of my teammates kept trying to do that and then just face planting into the next to
I
them.
did that on the GBDURO. I got a wheel stuck in the mud. I did great going around most of them, and then got a wheel stuck in the mud and did a header in.
It is a beautiful path, and you're then rewarded with the Audendam, which is an incredible location. It just appears out of nowhere, and it's a fantastic, almost brutalist-looking structure. It's huge. It's really big, and you pedal over the dam itself to get to the other side. And I remember the first year I recce'd it as well. I'd been listening to folklore podcasts, and I'd been listening to a podcast about banshees, and I pedalled up there in really high wind, and the wind was whistling through and it I totally got into my own head thinking, oh my god, there's banshees up here screaming through the gates. That was the noise, the wind. So I always remember that visual when I go up there, feeling like there's banshees kicking about. Do you remember the descent, Alex, down to Marybank?
I remember maybe some road lanes. I think I was just thinking about Contin and my resupply.
So it's a single track, perfectly tarmacked descent all the way back down. You sort of swoop down, but you have to be super careful because there's a gate close to the bottom, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Quite careful of in case you smack into it.
I remember something about some kind of oh no moments.
Yeah.
Some brown trouser moments on that descent coming into Contin, but I can't remember specifically what it was.
It feels like quite a long it just feels like it kind of takes a long time to get through. And once you're at Audendam, you zip down to Marybank and Contin in no time.
Yeah.
So, you're reassured by that feeling that constant forward motion will eventually get you to where you want to go.
Yes, that is always a really good moment for for morale there, trying to get those big descents. Yeah.
And make the last resupply.
Yeah, so Contin, last resupply, and sort of famous for being last resupply, I think, on both routes, right? Because Highland Trail, you're not seeing another shop again for a long time.
No. You see a couple of hotels. They pass through Rose Hall as well on GBDURO.
Yeah.
So I've made use of that before on the Highland Trail. Stopped in.
Yeah.
This year I did actually got a nice mirror selfie in their bathroom.
Oh, nice.
I'd split my chin open.
Oh, yeah.
Down the Maryhill Road, actually, in the rain.
Rose Hall's there.
Yeah.
So, coming out of Contin, we're into kind of some forestry mountain bikey tracks. The Strathpuffer, is that where the 24-hour is? Is it in that forestry?
It is. Yeah.
So, mountain bikers may know some of that. And then generally taking us on along further up into the glens and into... Have we crossed into Sutherland yet, or are we still Caithness?
Uh,
Coming from,
I'm not sure where the boundary is. They're quite close together. They cross over, I
yeah,
think.
they transition one to the next
Mm-hmm.
fairly well. Anything of note that we want to talk about in here on the way
That's just
into Rose Hall?
really lovely gravel. Really nice, really rolling,
Okay.
really quite straightforward forestry tracks, actually. Nothing too
Is
challenging.
this that big hunting estate that's been turned into a nature preserve kind of
Yes,
thing?
actually,
Yeah.
yes. And
Okay.
that is particularly beautiful, in fact. And
Yeah.
you climb up for a really long time, and you track some really beautiful lochs. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a memorable part of that part of the world. Actually, it's really, really stunning. I think they want to bring back wolves in Allerdale, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Allerdale, that's the name of it.
Yeah, it's that big Danish rewilding guy who's bought a lot of land across Scotland.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing some signage for it and going, I'm wasting time. And I feel like I didn't take in enough as I was going through all of that. Uh,
Yeah, that is spectacular.
Somewhere in there, though, the ethos of the landowner changes at some point because there's a locked deer fence, right? A locked gate on a deer fence. I think it's somewhere in here that there's a sort of famous ongoing dispute with the land
Yeah.
access officer.
And access officers in Scotland are pretty good. You can take a picture usually and send it on to the access officers, and they will deal with the landowner, but not if it's an entitled landowner in the north of Scotland, unfortunately. We just need to take a pair of bolt cutters up with us one day when we're riding either of those
Yeah.
events.
We'll add that to the GBDURO kit list. I'm sure it won't. I'm sure it won't slow anybody down to carry one of those from Land's End. Good. So we come through these estates, end up in Rose Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there's the pub there,
Mm-hmm.
which, if you make it in the daytime, that is a big relief to be able to get some food and get indoors, isn't it?
Just before that, on that junction, just up and left, yeah, just there. So that's the start and finish of the third loop of the Highland Trail.
Okay. So is this where the two routes diverge? The Highland Trail would head off to the left there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, hang on. Am I? Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then would be heading.
Oh no, it's at Rose Hall.
It's at Rose Hall.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Rose Hall is the. Yeah.
Is that junction? I remember from Rose Hall, it's a big, long, false flat up a glen. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tarmac never really gets moving very quickly, but never really slows you down that much. Kind of coming through this tarmac road, and maybe I wonder if the junctions here. We're coming up to Loch Shin.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a section of the Ullapool Coffin Road that's in and around here? I know we do end up on it, but
No.
maybe that's further south.
Yeah, the Ullapool Coffin Road. You would remember it, Alex. It's a heck of a hacky bike.
Okay.
It's wild. Yes, it's wild. So it's further south and west.
Okay. There was definitely a sign that said maybe it's this junction that you could continue on somewhere and end up joining it, but we are not on it with the GBDURO. Okay, so we get another little bit of off-road here. We've now left the Highland Trail, right? So I'm sort of testing your expertise and your experience of the Northeast Highlands, North Central Highlands. Eventually ending up, I think this climb is maybe that hydro I was talking to you about before we signed on, that there's a hydro or something here, and that then all of a sudden the gravel turns back to tarmac, and it's like, it's one of these, you go, oh, this should be in the 100 Climbs book. It's this mad road climb that's really tough up and over, and perfectly tarmacked because it's access for some kind of an electric or hydro scheme or something. But it's so far away from any other bits of tarmac road that you just can't really imagine a road cyclist taking a detour from Loch Shin to pop up and over just to climb back. So there's the up and over, takes you down to Loch Shin, and am I right coming here? No, we've got this is up and over into another kind of farming or hunting estate. Can be fairly chunky gravel, but rolls okay.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually popping out into some more road tracks that take us to Altnahara. And here is the big key change to the route from this year, because previous years have gone up and taken the tarmac road up and around the top. This year we are coming into, and now I need my Gael to help me here. What's the name of this lochen? Spelled Choire.
Loch Choire, so that means Corrie, Loch Corrie. So I'm actually just looking at some of the hill names, because the hill names and loch names give huge clues as to what the terrain is like. So to the east of Loch Choire, you've got Craig na Hillera, which is Crag of the Eagle.
Okay.
Miel Art, which is a high point as well, so it's probably quite steep. Miel na Nyon, which is a high point of the bird.
Okay.
Knoch Skrierton, which probably means that it's quite scree-like as well.
Scree. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a pal who stays near Ben Scriel, which is the same.
Okay.
It's the same word, right?
Yeah.
So Skriaken.
And that's the most beautiful thing about Gaelic language in the Highlands, is that you can interpret your terrain or what you may expect to see based on just the place names around you. So I would imagine, based on what I'm reading, like Knock, Bat and Lehich, like a steep thicket of some sort, and there's one called, just quite straightforward, Round Hill.
Oh, Round Hill. Yeah, that's a nice simple one.
And anything with alt in it. Alt means height, like alt na fé, which is height of the deer. Alt and Dún, I'm seeing here, which is height of the dun.
Okay.
Craig na Fia, which is crag of the deer. And anything with the word ach in it. Ach means field. Achig.
Okay.
There's a lot of achs, and that usually suggests that the land is maybe a bit flatter and a bit more suitable for cultivation,
grazing,
and crafting.
And grazing flatland in Caithness also means boggy, right?
Yeah.
Here are the photos from one of our organizer recce's here, from Christine. Looks absolutely gorgeous in here at Loch Choire.
Yeah.
Am I close enough with my pronunciation?
Yes, perfect. Spot on.
Okay.
Well done. Pass.
And looks like it's pretty slow going when it's dry, but also looks like it is a lot of this kind of squelchy, boggy hike-a-bike stuff, including, that looks like the kind of thing that you could do a header not into a pleasant one of 1,000 puddles, but rather into some bog muck. And it looks like there's some tough crossings here as well. I'm not sure I would have the guts to make that, to ride that in the middle of the night at this point in the GBDURO. Probably happily ride it fresh, but I'm not sure if I'm the one that would ride that in the middle of the GBDURO. I suspect you probably are, and that's why you win those events and I don't.
I would probably try. I live in tragic optimism, Alex, so I would definitely try faceplant off the side somewhere and quickly write it and move on.
Yeah. Upload a photo and keep pedaling.
Yeah. I'm seeing some references to Bat as well. Bat and Loch Hill and Bat and Loch Lodge. So Bat usually means thicket.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Bat does mean thicket, which would mean that they're coming back into. There's not a lot of shelter in Caithness. It's very exposed, as you just saw from that image. Lots of kind of heathery, tufty land.
Yeah.
But you can see from the map that there's. I would imagine those big sort of green areas are the bats, are the thickets that have perhaps been planted or otherwise at some point.
Kept in, and then our route does finally rejoin the same, I think it's probably just about there, rejoins the same tarmac track that the original GBDURO route would have taken. Now, I don't have a great memory of this section because I was doing it in the middle of the night and really starting to fall to bits, but I know that this whole gravel bit starts to come into an RSPB preserve. And my overwhelming memory is that it's really good, smooth, fast stuff, and that I just was in bits and finding it difficult and frustrating to go, why am I not able to go faster on this fast track? So, yeah, it sounds like you are aware, have some familiarity with this bird preserve, but have not ridden it. Certainly not recently.
I've heard of it. A friend's mum worked up there. She has said it's really beautiful. My friend's very good friend Beth comes from Johnny Groats.
Ah, okay.
Knows the area. Beth, you know Beth. Beth.
Beth.
Yeah.
Oh, Beth, who's the other exec.
Yes, a director, volunteer director. Yeah. So, in fact, you should get her on to talk about the Johnny Groats section. She would know it quite well. And
maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
See if I can grab Beth for a Sunday chat, because certainly I think Tom's going to make his way to the finish sometime tonight or tomorrow, but everybody else is going to have a few more days, so we may want to have a little conversation about that leg of it.
She'll know a lot about the place names and what they like. I particularly love how the place names bring the landscape to life, and I think it's important as Scottish people and as English people as well to have that kind of connection and understanding with their culture. And I love how in Caithness as well there's a lot of the Viking references, and you've got Ulster and Libster and Bibster and all these names, which is quite cool.
I've tried to give tiny little bits of it, but my knowledge is so limited in terms of these toponyms. We had talked about having a conversation about toponyms with Jess, who was one of the riders who's Welsh and a Welsh speaker, and was talking about the toponyms in Wales with Keith, who we saw just scratched, who was talking about, obviously, the Gaelic place names. And I was desperate to try to get the three of you into a conversation about all of that. But obviously you were away kayaking or something at that point. Yeah. It is fascinating to get all these place names and to be able to navigate your way through these hills once you have some sense of them. But I only know the ones that I've been told. I'm not really able to interpret a fresh one and go, I figure out what those words mean. Any other big place names that we should highlight for anybody in this area?
So I haven't dived into it.
Okay.
I wouldn't say there's anywhere else of note. But when you zoom in, it is quite fun to. You can just Google the hill name and the loch name and bring that landscape to life. If you're dot watching someone and you're a bit bored, and then you want to maybe see what they're seeing through the lens of the translation, then that's quite a fun thing to do. There's a lot of references to animals and colours, and it's so descriptive. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Gaelic's a very kind of romantic, descriptive language with, multiple words for one thing and 75 different ways to say no, for instance, other than no.
Wow.
And
I did not know that.
And when you pass through your landscape and start appraising it through its interpretation, it's beautiful. It's magic.
Incredible. Anything else we want to cover on the route? Or shall I bring us to a new topic? Because I'm aware that I'm coming up on the hour that I said I would take of your time. Yeah,
I don't think so. I think this leg of the route is really, really varied. They're coming out of, the Choiriaric Pass. You're really in the Gaeltach in the Highlands there, and it's quite a stark contrast as you move north into Caithness and Sutherland. It does become really rolling and really open expanse, and very windy as well, ordinarily in Caithness. A lot of wind farms in Caithness too. So there's a huge contrast as you sort of probably from kind of the Orrendam, Stewie, Garve area.
Yeah.
And it might come as a relief to them to just feel like they're rolling along rather than having to face some of the big, steeper, punchier climbs. Although
you can almost see it here on the, because where am I looking at? That's beyond Orrendam. Yeah. From Conton on up, it looks like, is Reese just coming to Orrendam? No. I'm I'm trying to do things too quickly and don't know what I'm talking about. But you can see all these mountains in the topographical map there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're saying, Kerry, you can see that suddenly they're into a flatter bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're skirting the edge of these kind of West Coast mountains,
Mm-hmm.
but it is much flatter, much more rolling, much gentler, much less craggy.
And the weather is great, so it means they're not going to have a stinking headwind into John O'Groats, so that's good.
Yes, although they might be grateful for a headwind at this point, given the way the midges are swarming. I was racing at a wind farm today, and there was no wind. Only time we're swarmed with midges at Whiteley Wind Farm, which was wild. Also, that's why I've still got gravel on my face.
I shared a boogie bag with about 50,000 midges 3 nights ago.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
It was lovely. Yeah, I didn't know I could get midgie bites so badly on my feet.
Ouch.
Ouch. Horror movie material, but I live to tell the tale. There we go.
That sounds worse than the recovery from the endurance event.
I always like to say, Alex, that what God gives us with one hand, he takes with the other. So he gives us nice calm weather.
Yes.
We must be punished for having nice calm weather and given midges and put in our place. Don't enjoy it too much.
Indeed. I expect we'll see some Instagram stories once people get signal talking about their midges. Kerry, I want to give you a bit of space to say anything else you want to say. We talked about maybe talking about women in ultra racing. We spoke at the beginning of this conversation about the fact that even the women at the front are not doing this as a full-time job. Mm-hmm. But also I'm aware we're coming to our time. So over to you. How much would you like to go into versus we can also just draw to a close? I've been so grateful to have your input here.
Oh, well, on the women front, it's an interesting discussion, and it's not something that I have a conclusion on in terms of my own opinion. I have opinions, but I'm happy to have them challenged and hope they evolve. And I work with women in Dirt Divas, mountain bike and gravel, who there's a number of entry-level women, but I'm also very competitive, highly driven women as well. And I often find that we do a lot, we're doing so much more now to encourage inclusion, but I don't necessarily think that we're doing enough to create pathways for people to continue. So there always tends to be a little bit of a ceiling, and I'm not sure why that is, and I actually think that people need to take more extreme ownership of what they want. So people look at ultra events and they wish they could do those ultra events, and they wish that they could be someone who did it. And I'm pretty certain that most women in an ultra event were that person once upon a time, and they just got out of their own way. Yeah. And oftentimes it's our egos that hold us back, because we're scared of being shown up, we're scared of being last, we're scared of being X, Y, and Z. And again, I can be quite blunt and direct sometimes, and like, if you're saying that, it means that it's something that you care about. So are you judging other people who are last, or who are dead last, or who are trying something? And you need to be honest with yourself. So I'm not saying that it's easy by any means. I've got a lifestyle where I have 2 or 3 jobs. It means that I'm extremely busy sometimes, but it also means that I can give myself a little bit of flexibility too, so I can do my cycling development work. I can do that in the evenings, and maybe take a Friday to go and do X, Y, and Z. And so it's a really funny thing. So I think we always sort of look at something and think, I want to be that, but that's an impossibility. But like, what is ultra racing? It's bike packing, but you're doing it in a group of people. Maybe that's the start point, rather than feel like there isn't it's not accessible to you. And there's so many events and opportunities around now that there's no reason why you can't get involved. You can get access to kit now, but you have to take extreme ownership of what you want from things, is my belief. Otherwise, I think it's entirely okay to be content to be someone that just enjoys the sport from this perspective.
Yeah, it can be all consuming just doing the dot watching,
Oh,
can't
it's
it?
great. It's like a sport in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Teach yourself
Uh,
some Gaelic while you do it, now that I've given you that nugget. So, yeah, the women's thing is really interesting. Like, I can see more and more opportunities for women to get involved now, and I think it's just the best thing ever.
yeah.
And I want more women to get involved. I want to be competing against really fast women, but I also just want to be around women when I'm racing
Yeah.
as well, whether it's at the start or at the finish, it doesn't matter. I don't think there's a place for slow shaming, and I don't think there's a place for fast shaming either, which is something that women at the front can experience as well from other
Yeah.
women. I just think if you like riding your bike, whether it's fast or slow, and there's a start line there and it's something you want to do, like give it a go. But also, you've
Yeah.
also got to respect the ultra because you've got to do your homework. Like nobody just walks up to a line and does it. Like you need to go bike packing, you need to experience bibbing on your own, and if you're not doing those things, why are you doing ultra? Because the process is absolutely the best part of it and should be the thing that pulls you into that start line. Because if it
Yeah.
like the to complete or win, I think quite a lot of people do often scratch, and I scratched at Highland Trail this year, and it was disappointing, but the ultra meant so much more than just winning. Even though that's what I want to do, I want to win,
Right.
but I don't expect to win. But I also want to be with people and experience the landscape, and I got to do all of that, so I was able to have a healthy relationship with scratching. Um,
Yeah.
I don't really know
We've
what
had.
I'm trying to get to, but
Sorry, what's that?
I don't really know what I'm trying to get to. I've just like jumped from one thing to several.
Well, I've heard a few different really interesting points there that I think all fit into the growing conversation that I've been having with Lucy and Jess and Sam over the last few days. We've had a lot of conversations about what can organizers do, what does the ultra community need to do, how do people get into these kind of beginner accessible places and spaces, and where should people look for an inclusive kind of cycling pathway. But I think this is a take that I haven't heard yet from any of the women I've spoken to is the women who are interested, you've got to go do it.
Yeah, you do.
It's the extreme ownership thing
You
that
have
they're part of that.
Yeah, you have to get out of your own way. And I really believe that a lot of the time, if you're really honest with yourself, it's your ego that's getting in your way. I include
Yeah.
myself in that when I think of things that I'm too scared to do because I don't want to be shown up or
Yeah.
don't want to get on a
Because you
start
don't want to
line.
be bad at it.
But I actually quite like being rubbish at things, and I've just been got the biggest blisters in like on the planet on my thumbs because I'm not a particularly good kayaker, but stuff it, I'll just go and do it. So I do. I think there's an element of just you need to get out of your own way, and I'm seeing more and more communities and opportunities pop up. So they are there, and I'm part of those communities. Dirt Divas do
Yeah.
bikepacking events and experiences, and are constantly trying to get funding applications to make these experiences accessible to people.
Yeah.
And I followed this hilarious guy recently on Instagram who I think he bought a £10 bike, a 10 quid bike from like almost like a scrappy and just strapped like co-op bags or whatever to his bike and cycled the length of the UK. And
Wow.
yeah, it was really quite funny, but because he was doing it on socials, he did get a lot of help along the way. Like I think he spent like peanuts. They would just go
Yeah.
into a shop and ask if they had any food they were throwing out, or it was very amusing. But it was a good reminder that another thing we often think is that we need the kit, we need the best thing, and we need
Yeah.
to like and. You actually don't. Like I started out with Tesco bags bungeed to my bike as well, and you don't see that. You just see a person who won the Highland Rail. You don't.
Yeah.
I sewed my own bag. I didn't realise that bags sagged when you put things in them, and I was really proud of the bag that I sewed. And then as soon as I put something in it, it was just jammed. So I just ended up like tying it onto my front.
Oh no.
So, and the only way you can learn when it comes to bikepacking and ultra is by doing. And again, when you're watching races, it always looks like things are just groovy for the people in the front, but you don't realise that they become groovy through refinement, and you refine through mistakes, and
Yeah.
it never stops. And that's why the sport is addictive, because there's always things that you can do better, and it's
Yeah.
not always fitness or fastness. efficiency and where your charger is or where you keep your food or little things like that. It's so good. I love that evolution. And it's a sport you can engage in for years and years and years, because it's not like you can go and do an ultra every month or second month. But yeah, right. So I don't know, maybe my opinion is a bit controversial. It's maybe a little bit direct, and maybe being a bit of a devil's advocate, but oftentimes I do feel like I have to give people a bit more of a, like, you have
swift
to
kick.
take accountability, extreme accountability for what you want, rather than feel like something is being denied you because I'm just a wee, if I'm being a bit it's not negative about myself, self-deprecating. Like, I'm a wee lassie from the Western Isles who moved to the mainland when she was 18. We had bikes, but didn't ride bikes. Like, you just sort of there's nothing in my younger life that would have suggested that I would go on to do this. And it's not like, oh, that person's an ultra cyclist. It's so that person's done, I think I've spent my whole life training to be an ultra cyclist, unbeknown to me. And a lot of women are as well. Like, women are just endurance monsters. So just do it.
Just do it. And if you need Kerry to be the one to give you the kick to do it, I think that's probably coming to where our plugs are, right? Bringing us to the end and giving an opportunity to plug some of the initiatives that you're involved in. Because, like you said, you're involved in a number of different initiatives. You are the director of some of them. You are the development officer in your area. You do Bike Trossachs, the Dirt Divas, the Gravel Guide stuff. And all of those have some element of an opportunity for people to find their way into this world. So if that kick is going to come from one of the things that you do, where should people look to find those things?
Well, if you're Scottish, or if you like coming to Scottish, absolutely hit up Dirt Divas Mountain Bike and Gravel. We do backpacking trips. We do a mountain bike gravel festival every year. We didn't have one this year, but we had a solstice event. If you ride an adaptive bike, I'm a trustee of Adaptive Riders Collective, who do so much stuff across the UK events. They're based in Callander as well. My wee pal Neil. Neil has one leg. You might know Neil. Russell. Been pals with him for a really long time, so do a lot of work around that. And it's quite funny, actually, because I'm really into inclusion, but I'm also really into being at the pointy end of things as well. So... And at Bike Trossachs, we organise really cool gravel cycling events, inclusive events. So we've got Gravel for All 10. That's in early October. That's 10 hours of gravel cycling.
10 hours? You're on your way to Ultra.
Multiple laps. You can do it as a team, pairs. It's really good crack on the Three Lochs Forest Drive. So the lap will be about an hour long or something. So we've got that coming up. So excellent. Lots of wee things.
And I'll link below this to all of these various initiatives, whether that's the website or the Instagram or whatever it is. And I imagine you get quite a lot of unsolicited messages, so we'll maybe focus on those things instead.
I don't mind people messaging me, but I just hope they don't get offended when I forget to reply to them, and it's only because I probably saw it and I'm like, I'll reply to them in 5 minutes, and just completely forget. But
okay, find Kerry on Instagram, send her a message if you've got a question. If she doesn't reply, it's not because she doesn't care.
Chase me, that's the best thing to do, and then make me feel bad, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll reply now.
All right, well, unless you've got any race predictions based on anything that we've seen here, then I will wrap us there and say...
It looks like it's a done deal, I think, unless people pick up any injuries, or I don't think there's going to be much movement in...
I mean, I think our scratch rate just went over 50%, so this, the route can still break some people, and that seems the most likely way that we would see a change in the placings at this point.
It's funny when the finish line's in sight, though. You can I always think that when it comes to pain, because in an ultra, it's entirely self-inflicted. You are not suffering when you're in an ultra because you did it to yourself. So, I mean, I feel bad for your pain, and I feel like I've been in an awful condition after a couple of mine, but entirely self-inflicted. So in the actual event itself, I always just tuck it away in a box and throw away a key, and just keep going. Once you've crossed the finish line, that's it.
I think someone else was saying, remember, you paid money to do this.
Yeah, you did it
Yeah.
to yourself. So,
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Kerry. This has been an absolutely wonderful conversation. I've really enjoyed it and enjoyed getting to tour around the Highlands on a little map with you. I I know that you've got a couple events coming up. If our dot watchers are going to get sad about the end of the GBDURO, what else can they watch you racing?
so next weekend is the Wales 400.
Okay.
That's part of the UK Triple Crown, the Dales Divide, the Highland Trail, and the Wales 400. Out of contention in that now because my bike got washed away in the Highland Trail. But you can listen to Detour's podcast for that story. Mel
Okay.
and I recorded one about that in June, I think. And
Good.
and then hopefully Atlas Mountains in February.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
That
is
sounds super exciting.
that was always something other people did, and you could never ever envisage that that was something that I could do. And I always thought it would cost an arm and a leg to go and do the Atlas Mountains, but it's quite cheap to get to Morocco. And I thought that
Is it?
I never thought I could afford it, but I think I can do it. So yeah,
Okay. Wow.
and I want to race the fast girls. Like I really want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I've raced the
The-
fast girls. Like Emma was super fast at the Highland Trail, but I want to like seek out that like next
The-
level of discomfort. So.
Okay. Wow. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing that. Thanks again for taking the time, and hope you have a wonderful evening, Kerry. Yeah.
Keep up
We'll
the
leave
good
it there.
work, Alex. Thank you.
Thanks. Cheers.